What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. Today, 6 exercises for your delts you're probably not doing. And I promise if you start mixing them in, you're gonna be surprised by the results that you see. You see, we get too stuck in a rut when it comes to shoulder training. We press, we shoulder raise, and we shoulder raise. And maybe we do a little bit of reverse shoulder raises, but that's it. If we wanna get our delts to work, we actually have more ways that we can scientifically incorporate movement the way our actual shoulders want to move in the first place. So we can do that with these 6 exercises. First up is the crush grip shoulder press out. And right here what we're doing is we're actually allowing our chest to contribute in a way that actually helps to take it out of the action to allow the shoulders and the front delts more specifically to do the work. Because we add this isometric contraction, we're squeezing the dumbbell as hard as we possibly can, we're activating the chest isometrically. So now when we press the arms out away from our body, we're going to preferentially make sure that the delts are doing all the work. Now, we can alter the angle here, which is another reason why I love this exercise, to make it either more or less difficult. If I press the dumbbell straight out, I'm doing more work, obviously, with my front delts there, as they're subjected more to the force of gravity on the way down, acting on our arms. If we press them up at a higher angle here, I actually get the opportunity to make this a little bit easier because the moment arm of the arms themselves is actually shorter. However, because we're actually now pressing more upright, it's still working the shoulders. So you have a lot of things working for you here to make this exercise one that's going to effectively hit your delts, especially if you haven't tried it before. Okay, sticking with the front delts, but now also including the middle delts, we have the dumbbell butterfly raise. And what we're doing here is we're actually allowing the positioning of our shoulders to help control the activation and transition from the front delt to the middle delt safely. So you guys know how I feel about internal rotation when it comes to shoulders, and especially as we go into elevation of the arm. Well, we are elevating the arm here, and we are internally rotating the arm by going from an externally rotated position back to neutral. So we are not actually into or approaching internal rotation of the arm at the top position, but we're getting all the benefits of middle delt activation by having an internal rotation going on at the shoulder. So you'll see I start with the externally rotated arms, underhand positioning here, and I raise the dumbbells up and out to the side. So we have the abduction that we know we need, and especially a little bit of that frontward angling of the arms to get the front delt. As we transition to the side, by going from, again, the externally rotated position to a more neutral position, we're actually having the act of internal rotation going on, which will fire up those middle delts. Try this, guys. I promise you, you're going to feel the difference. And if you haven't done your side lateral raises this way, you're definitely going to start mixing them in because you'll feel what a big difference it makes. Next one, I want you to stand up and pull up your pants. I'm serious. I want you to stand up, grab your pants like this, and pull them straight up. And what you should be feeling, other than one hell of a wedgie, is one hell of a contraction here, not just in your middle delt, but also in your rear delt. And why that is because we're getting the benefit in this position here of having the abduction of the arm in relation to the torso, but also the extension of the arm back behind the torso to also fire up that hard-to-hit rear delt. Now, we can do this with dumbbells in a weighted form right here with a hip hugger. And the benefit of this exercise is that because of the shortened moment arm, because we don't have to lift our arm straight out to the sides as we would in a normal lateral raise, we can use heavier weights to hit this area. And that's one thing we don't usually get the opportunity to do unless we're pressing. So you want to take these weights, hold them down at your sides. This is not an upright row. You guys know how I feel about that exercise as well. This is an externally rotated hand position as we come up, and we're stopping only about the level of the navel or a little above. You will feel again though, an incredible contraction, whether or not you're even using weights at all. If you're just doing that whole pants pulling thing, you're still going to feel it there as well. This is one you're going to definitely want to add to your routine. I'm definitely favoring those middle delt exercises because I think people struggle to find options outside of the side lateral raise. But this is another one we can do here, and it looks a little unorthodox, but if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you've probably already tried it and with good results. This is the bodyweight side lateral raise. And this one I debuted back in our ATHLEAN Zero bodyweight only program, but what you're doing here is taking advantage of the concept of relative movement. See, if our arm is raising out to the side here as we do with some sort of a dumbbell side lateral raise, we can still do the same movement if we take our arm and fix it in position and then move our body away from it. In both instances, we have abduction of the arm, which we know is going to fire up that middle delt. So as I rotate my torso on this fixed arm on the ground here, I'm getting that relative abduction of the arm in relation to the torso. And that means delt activation. So you want to do this, especially if you are not in a position to be doing any weights at all, and you need a bodyweight option, and you're not just doing handstand shoulder raises or pike push-ups. This is going to fill in great for you. Okay, now we're heading back to the rear delt because you simply cannot get enough rear delt work, and especially if all you've been doing is reverse flies, because that's simply not going to hit the rear delt as best as you possibly can. Now, this underhand dumbbell variation is one I actually broke out in an entire video dedicated just to this, and I still think it's being underutilized. If you've been watching the channel though and doing what I tell you to do, you've probably already been using this with great benefit. However, for those who haven't, I have to repeat it again. The key when you're trying to activate your rear delt is not going into this reverse fly motion here. What you really need to do is you need to get into extension of the arm back behind the body. Okay, so you can see how much more I can get behind the body than if I were to do this. I actually get stopped anatomically at this position here, but if I can go into extension, I can get the upper arm further back. And if I add one other component to it, external rotation, I can even go further. And the degree of contraction that you can feel is enormous. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to put a dumbbell in your hand. If you take your hand right now, stand up, externally rotate, and pull up and back, you'll feel that rear delt fire up like never before. So by virtue of actually adding a little dumbbell to this equation, we can turn this into an exercise, mimic the positioning that I'm showing you right here, work both sides, and I promise you, better rear delt gains than you ever have gotten before. And last but not least, we have to save sort of the little exercise with the big bang. And this is the swimmers. And I know at first glance it probably looks like a rehab exercise. And the fact is that I really can't use heavy weights here, maybe 5-pounders or at most 10-pounders, but what really matters is what is going on in the shoulders. And there is a lot going on. Because by virtue of the path of the dumbbells here, I'm managing to hit all 3 heads of the delt in one move. As I raise my arms up and out to the sides, the middle delts are helping me to do that. My arms swoop forward to the front, and then eccentrically the front delts get loaded up again. Now when I go back again and reload, it again starts with rear delt activation. We have that extension going on of the arms that we just talked about was so important. And we come up to the top, we move our arms forward, and we repeat that. We're hitting all 3 heads. And it doesn't require heavy weights to feel this. What's more of a requirement is the activation and the contraction of the 3 heads of the delts, and you're able to do it in one shot with this exercise. So there you have it, guys. There's 6 new exercises for you to put into your shoulder training arsenal to help you to get better results. I'm not a big fan of just doing different to be different. If you're going to do different, then you better make sure you have an anatomical backup, a plan, a reason for why you're doing what you're doing. Guys, we put the science back in strength here every single time we make a video for you to make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing. If you're looking for a complete training program, head to ATHLEAN-X.com. We put the science back in all of our workouts as well, of course. You can get those over at ATHLEAN-X.com. In the meantime, if you like the video, leave your comments below. Tell me what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that for you in the days and weeks ahead. All right, see you soon.